We're going to install a transmission cooler on a 2016 Subaru Outback. I've never done this before, so I'm going to do my best to edit this efficiently so I don't waste your time as much as possible. And yet, I still want to give everybody enough information so even if you're a novice, maybe you'll be inspired to be able to do this too, and hopefully I'll give you all the information you need to do it. Now, this is a Hayden transmission cooler under Transaver name. It's model 1678. It's made in South Korea. This is what comes in the kit. This is what's used to install it if you put it directly onto like the condenser for the air conditioner or the radiator itself. This goes through the fins and holds that up against it, which can be really good having it in full contact with your radiator or AC condenser, because then your electric fans can pull air through it. That's often the ideal way to do it. However, there's also some stuff in here so you can mount it elsewhere, whether it's under the car, which typically you don't want to do because then it can come in contact with things or may not get enough airflow if it's behind a shield. So that's in the kit as well. And then of course it has hose clamps, which look pretty chintzy to me, but they are in there. And this is important too, because this isn't just fuel line. The line for transmission fluid is often a little different than fuel line or anything like that. I don't know if it damages the line or whatever, but there is specific line for transmission fluid. And there's what your cooler looks like. Has a couple covers over the openings, and it's just basically a little oil radiator to flow your transmission fluid through and keep the fluid in it cool. So on this vehicle, unfortunately, you can't just remove the grill section out to access what you need. You've got to take this whole bumper cover off. So there's going to be a bunch of these plastic clips. You just put a flat blade screwdriver underneath, pull them out partially, and then you can grab that whole thing and get it out of there. It takes a little bit of work, especially as it gets old and has dirt and whatnot underneath. That will come out once this thing is partially pulled out. You don't want to jerk this center section all the way out. It'll make things more difficult rather than easier. So work every one of those out. I think there's 6 up top and maybe 7 on bottom. You also have to come around here to the sides. Might have to turn the steering wheel, and on some models there's a Phillips head down here that you'll have to get to and remove. Mine doesn't appear to have it. And also, if you're equipped with fog lights, as most of them are, I've got blanks there where the fog lights are, but if it's equipped with fog lights, there'll be plugs that have to be removed as well. I'm going to try to link to a better video of this up here in the corner, if I can find a good one, so you guys have access to that, but I'm not going to go through that part step by step. So we've got the front bumper cover off. Here's the stock transmission cooler, and both the lines for that run together up under the taillight. You can actually see where they connect into hard lines or steel lines just underneath the battery behind the taillight back here. So the stock cooler does not touch the condenser for the AC. So even the stock one doesn't have the stock fan pulling air through it very well anyway. So I've decided I'm going to install that Hayden cooler over here, and I don't want to install it this way with the openings for the radiator where the hose attaches up high, because I'll have to move it down too low. And when I move it down low, it looks like it's open, but those are shutters that are sometimes closed here on the front. Looks like they're computer controlled. You can kind of see that. I guess that increases aerodynamics when you don't need the cooling those things shut. So I actually am going to install it this direction, and these top holes here I'm going to mount on this radiator support up high, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to connect hoses. We're going to have to go buy a union, because I don't really want to cut these stock lines, and these stock lines, neither one of these will stretch over far enough to connect to my aftermarket Hayden cooler here. So I'm going to just show you in a picture. It'll be a lot easier to show you how I'm going to route it. So this is what I'm planning on doing. Here's our stock cooler over here. Here's our radiator support. I'm going to attach the Hayden cooler here at the top. I'm going to have to drill some holes in the radiator support. You can put nuts and bolts in here, obviously, to hold it on. I think I'm going to actually install nut certs because I have that. We'll put nut certs up here so it's easier to install than reaching on the back side and holding the nut on the back. So our stock lines, our stock rubber lines are these black ones. This one goes in here. This other one runs in this side. We're going to detach this side, cut a new line from here to here on our Hayden cooler, and then the other half of this line, actually 2/3 of that line, we're going to run from here back to that one that we removed. And I'm going to have to buy a union, a 3/8 inch union, like for fuel line or something. 5/16 might work, might be a little small. A 3/8 will be just a hair too big. This line here is actually 11/32, which is just between 3/8 and 5/16, but I'm not going to be able to find an 11/32 union, so I'm going to use 3/8 and possibly have to heat up the hoses to get it in there. And we're going to attach the new line to the old line there, because neither of these stock lines will reach far enough over to our new cooler. So I think the best thing to do to keep things, to keep from cutting as much of the stock stuff as possible, or actually not cut any of it, we'll put our union in there. So that's the plan. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see the lines after I install it, so this picture is helpful, because I'm going to have to put these lines on mostly before I slide the cooler in and attach it, because everything's obstructed. Actually, this area kind of covers up about that much of the cooler, and we just won't be able to see it. So that's what I'm planning on doing. Now, to get access to that top radiator support to drill holes where I want to install this thing, unfortunately we also have to remove these plastic clips from this section to pull it out of there. Now you have to remember these little foam inserts to get these placed back, because this is what helps force air through the fan system, or what allows the fan to suck as much air directionally through from the front where the cold air is at, through the radiator and condenser. So we got to remember these little things to put these back. This top piece kind of holds the top, and then there's another plastic piece there at the bottom that holds this bottom piece. So we're going to pull these little clips right here and then across the top, and then we'll be able to pull this out as well for access. Now to pull this out, there's one hidden clip underneath. It's this one here, and it's underneath the air intake, and there is enough room to reach under there and pull that out, but it's pretty tight quarters. So just to warn you, you've got to pull this clip out here too, and then to get it out, you kind of pull it backwards and then tilt it like this to get it up over that hood lock mechanism. Those foam pieces, they kind of stayed in place, but if it's a windy day, that could still blow out on you, so keep an eye on those. And with that plastic piece out, we can see everything a lot easier, and we're going to have a lot better access. So it's probably advisable, even if you come up with a different attachment option than I did, to take that out of there, so you'll have plenty of access to these hoses. Now, something to keep in mind, that plastic piece comes to right here, So you can only, if you're going to attach it like I did, you can't, you know, sometimes you forget with the plastic piece out. You may be tempted to go in up here because this looks a little more flat than this section. However, the plastic piece needs to go there, so we only have access to this bottom section. I've marked my holes. You got to remember there's a weld right here, a spot weld, and so you don't want to drill through the middle of that, because then this radiator support will become a little looser. And then with this hole already here, you've got to keep that in mind, because that's too big for what we're doing, unless you're bolting it, and then you might be able to actually use that hole for your purposes. Plus, this is kind of, you know, this isn't a flat surface, so we have to keep in mind that when we cinch this thing down, we may need spacers in back. You can bend that cooler up a little bit, but ideally you don't want to do that. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to find areas that I like to mount this. Plus, in this section too, we've got a bracket behind it where it's attached to this cross radiator support. This vertical radiator support is mounted in behind it. So keep all that in mind, and make sure to keep it away from where the plastic needs to go when you put the plastic back on. So I got my holes drilled and some rib nuts in, which are just like a captive nut that goes in the back. Like I said, you don't have to use this. You can use a normal nut and bolt, but that got inserted into that radiator support. I didn't do a great job of choosing which locations to drill those holes and put those rib nuts. So I only got 2 good mounting spots up top. Fortunately, they're right here and right here, so they're fairly spaced apart. They're not close together. We're also going to have to put spacers behind that so we don't warp this when we bolt it in because of that ripple that's in that metal there. And I've decided to go ahead and use a piece out of this bracket to mount to the vertical radiator support. I'll show you that in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and mount all this stuff in. I used the last bolt hole on this support, and we're going to get that tightened up really good, and it's going to end up at about an angle like this. And this second hole here, I believe, because I've mocked it up once, I believe will fit in that bottom hole. This hole would be straight across, but it doesn't line up very well, and I don't want to drill another hole in that bracket. I'm just going to go to slide angle and hit this one. Now those hoses, remember, you get one long length of hose, and so this short side, we want to drill it as long as possible to make sure we've got plenty to work with on the long side. So this short side, I went with 19 inches. I think that's going to be sufficient and give us a little bit to curl it back into this position here. So this is our 19-inch hose, and then everything left over goes on this side of the cooler. And I've used the curve of the hose as it comes in and curved it back naturally where it's going to go when it's mounted, so I'm not fighting with the curvature of that hose. So I'm going to finish tightening this up. I've got these tightened up already. This side is going to go onto the left of that stock cooler, and then this long end here is going to go into our union and back into the part that we removed on this left side. So when we get cooling now, we'll get cooling out of both of these coolers for the transmission. So the cooler is mounted. I got my 2 mounting bolts up top, and then this bracket that mounts to the center radiator support down there. I even worked a little piece of rubber behind it if it would focus. An important thing to keep in mind is those lines that connect to this cooler. They need to run behind this radiator support. I didn't realize that earlier, but now you can, if we can get that to focus, that little notch there is the back of one of the shutters. You can see one here and one over there. That's the corner of 2 of the 4 shutters. if we run the lines in front of the radiator support, it's going to interfere with those shutters, so they have to go behind the radiator support. So this short line, and realistically it shouldn't be cut to 19 inches, it should be cut to 20 or 21 even. It's not kinking at 19, it's just I've got a little less to work with than what I would like, because there's plenty left on this long side, but this short side, cut it to 20 or 21. I think you're going to have better success there. Here's another step I almost forgot about that I was going to do before I connected these lines. I have some CVT fluid available. There's about 7 ounces left in this container, 6 or 7 ounces. And so we're going to get a pretty good estimate of how much fluid is held in the lines and the cooler. So this shorter line I've strung up to above the level of the cooler, and I'm going to pour in this side until it fills that up, and we're going to find out how much fluid is in there. Then I'm going to plug these up with something until I'm ready to actually switch those lines over. So I have about an ounce or two left, so I would say it holds about 5 or 6 ounces. Not a meaningful amount, but if you want to top off your transmission with another 6 ounces of fluid, or pre-fill this before you connect the lines, that's something you could do too. So here's the union that I'm going to use to attach the new lines to the factory lines. This is available from Walmart. It's like $6. You can also get this similar items at O'Reilly's or AutoZone, but you know, they're like 10 or 12 bucks there. So generally you'll find this in the boating section is where they have these at. Everything's all connected. These lines that come with the kit barely fit over the connectors for the factory fittings. It's probably advisable to stretch that out, or buy 2 of these unions and maybe cut the factory line off and section into both of them. Might make things a little easier. These will, remember, this is aluminum, and this will bend some if you're not careful with it, and it takes a lot of force without doing something with this line from the Hayden kit to get it to open up just a little more to get over that connector. And then I also zip tied it in a couple places so this line doesn't rattle against anything. A guy could, you know, cut things further and reroute stuff a little bit if they don't like this setup, but I think I'm gonna start this thing up and see if there's any leaks, and if not, I'll throw it all back together. Thanks for watching.